So there's been a little bit of a commotion going on in the sim community lately, and it's all to do with this one Reddit post that someone made calling out Gaijin for the fact that the recently announced BR changes don't actually include sim, which is very disappointing for obvious reasons. And it's essentially garnered a lot of attention from a bunch of people because it's peeved everyone off. One of which is a user by the name of Wingerling Dragon. Now, if that name sounds familiar, he used to be one of, if not the biggest War Thunder Sim streamer. I'm not sure if he still I think he still streams, but I think he's moved over to IL2 now. But I'll leave his Twitch in the description if you want, as well as the actual Reddit post as well, if you want to go read through it yourself. But he makes some very good points about the current state that Sim is in. He lists off a bunch of issues as well as giving his own solutions, which I think are very interesting as well. And essentially just calls out the devs for not caring. That's essentially what it is. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm just going to read through the entire post. I'm going to read through his comments, and you guys can make up your own mind if he's right or not, and we can hopefully get a discussion going in the comment section. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. The economy changes and slow burn of Sim transitioning into obscurity have been depleting my motivation for a long time. I've honestly just stopped grinding the game. As a result, I haven't really been on much at all, other than for fun events and community flyouts. I used to spend all week long grinding Naval just to get the SL needed for my weekend playtime. I used to fly whatever BRs viewers wanted, even if they weren't my favourite. I'd make a few million over the week and then burn through it over the weekend eating top tier missiles. Now trying to play top tier feels like a full-time job, and the only thing I feel like flying is my favourite era that won't make me go broke, EC2 and EC3, so basically 2.0 to 5.0. But with the economy in such a poor state, there just isn't a lot of reason to play War Thunder Sim over IL2. The economy and progression were my chief aspects that kept me engaged and helped me recruit new people to learn. Sim for years has just been handed the short end of the stick on so many turns along my journey that it's becoming difficult to forgive. No war bonds, no repair, no battle pass, hardly any event participation, very few updates such as new maps, constant undermining of community sentiment, lack of company engagement, BRs that have been broken for eons, and finally an economy that is in a tailspin. It becomes difficult to forgive all of the shortcomings and lack of support. The wind has been taken out of my sails. And then for the next bit here, it's one of the replies that he gave to someone that commented on his post, and he basically just goes ahead and lists a bunch of things that are wrong with Sim and potentially how to fix them as well. And I think honestly, he's being spot on with a lot of them. So I'm just going to read this to you as well. The list of things they need to do is inflating beyond what can be civilly discussed or coherently explained at this point. Balance, great. We have new rotating BRs that can more precisely highlight outliers within their BR brackets. Start making some adjustments. Vehicle isn't being played, let it slowly sink in BR. People will find it once it appears at a BR that players feel is viable. Nothing can bottom out unless it truly belongs at the bottom. Things like the B17 still sitting at 5.7 and the A7M1 sitting at 4.0 are laughable at this point. Adjustments should be happening on a weekly basis and be manually reviewed whether an adjustment occurs many times in a row, like if a plane sinks in BR 3 consecutive times and attempts a fourth, manual human intervention should be flagged for review. Economy. Can you just let our vehicles die when they die, not be dead once they spawn? Seriously, figure it out. If you spawn in and never die, great, no repair for you. You spawn in and take damage, airfield despawns you and your aircraft either needs to pay the small repair cost to reappear, or it stays red while your crew repairs it over time, free crew repair. You full on die, your plane is now red in your lineup until you pay the full repair cost to make it alive again. If you don't, when the match ends, auto repair will do it for you, or it will stay red while your crew fixes it. You got a free repair item, you can use it in the match. Hangars can be adjusted to have nothing to do with repair and only be associated with rearming your plane. All repair work should be handled by the crew function or SL system, period. Pay me for individual actions. If I shoot down 10 people, that should pay more than shooting down 2. Yep, 100% agree with that. That goes into the whole 15-minute segments that the EC matches are split into. Farmers, police your freaking game. I can't tell you how much I agree with this one particularly. Recruit some freaking sim moderators. When sim players are mass reporting botting accounts, look into it. ban them, roll back their progress, and remove the progress of anyone who interacted with them. Investigate high KD and give a sincere effort towards mitigating the efforts of bots. Holy shit, I cannot agree more. When a player makes a report and action is taken, let that player know. Your report against Wingerling Dragon, for instance, for passive gameplay has been reviewed and determined to be valid. Wingerling Dragon has been suspended for 10 days. Great, that's really all we need, right? If a player is suffering multiple reports and a manual review determines them to be innocent, make them automatically immune from the reporting system for the next 30 days or revoke reporting privilege of the spamming parties for 30 days. Strategic bombers should be spawning at high altitudes, 10,000 to 30,000 feet depending on EC. Carriers should be area appropriate. Mid-map AA should never be high caliber invisible rounds. Players should be able to adjust their lineups during a match by leaving and rejoining, same way we can do it in custom, but should be locked to whichever team they choose. EC lobbies should be 64 players. Increase the minimum player requirement to begin a lobby, but have at least one official lobby for every bracket at all times. Let me do my tasks for Warbonds, events, and Battle Pass. I mean, what the hell, man? Yeah, no, seriously, why can we not do Battle Pass challenges in Sim? What's that all about? Remove the global kill feed. Yes, 100%, I am with them on that. Increase fog of war. Nobody should know what kind of kill I scored from across the map. Omniscient mechanics need to be curtailed. Surveillance aircraft should be typing out occasional positions, reports of enemy aircraft, whether they are detected within the grid square. For instance, enemy fighters. 3. Grid E4, preference altitude, make surveillance valuable. Yep, I agree with that. The surveillance aircraft should be some sort of AWACS as well. That would be amazing. It would actually make a difference if you take it out. Gunners should not be accessible in Sim. Pilot and bombardier views only. Gunners should type out occasional positions, reports of enemy contacts visible only to the pilot. Add wind. It's already in the game, just turn it on. Add an option to remove capture lend-lease sold units when creating lobbies. Basically a purist toggle. If selected, only aircraft native to the nation may be fielded. That makes certain nations incomplete at certain BR ranges. Too bad, find a different lobby. Okay, so basically it's just saying, like, for instance, if you're flying America 4.0, you shouldn't be able to fly the BF-109 if that purist toggle is activated for that lobby. Rewards should be tied to the population of the lobby. Large lobbies pay better, smaller lobbies pay worse. Yep, I think that's a good idea. Rewards should be highly associated with pilot survival. A 100% death or JL over enemy territory results in a large loss of gains. The conservation of rewards increases as survivability metrics go up. And then he basically just goes on about how the tiering would work on that, which I'm not going to read. Bots should respond with position calls whenever attention to the map is triggered near them. Yep, that would be very useful. Attention to the map should be a different icon than follow me. Yep, 100%. Air superiority points should last until they are completed and take at least 2 times the amount of current capture to complete. Yep, it's very annoying when you're just about to cap an A point and it just disappears. Completion of an A point should result in the spawning of strategic bombers or attackers, not ground battles. Bombers engage ground battles and are actually effective when they arrive. Ground battles should exist perpetually and be symmetrical. Both teams have tanks that are progressing to capture and attacking one another. Mini-bases should be the origin point of convoys. The length of time a mini-base has existed and remaining HP should dictate the size of the convoy they create. Convoys should move from mini-bases to the ground battles. Yes, completely agree with that. Convoys reaching ground battles should replenish the tanks of that team, so basically just cause more to appear, concurrent to the size of the convoy that arrived. Mini-bases perpetually spawn convoys in regular intervals and seek the nearest ground battle. You can then eliminate their impact at any point you choose along the supply lines. Eliminate the mini-base source, eliminate the en route convoy, or eliminate the tanks. Or all 3. Quadruple the amount of HP that mini-bases have. Yep, I think that's a good point as well. That's a good idea as well. Flying near friendly bombers should provide passive points similar to how you score points in ground RB if you're sitting inside of a friendly cap zone. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because if you're flying escort for someone, there's literally no point for you to stick with that person if they're not being attacked, because as a fighter you only get rewarded for shooting down other planes, so if no planes actually come to you, then you're not getting rewarded even though you're essentially doing your job. Players with high KDs in the current match should be worth more points if killed. Players with low KDs should be worth less. Increase the rewards for everything. Yep, just increase the rewards for across the board. And then basically there was another reply that he gave. It's a little bit shorter, this one. And he just explains how to deal with the the farmers that we have in Sim and stuff like that, and the bot accounts. A lot of that is mitigated by assigning moderators, policing communities reports, offering feedback to reporters about action taken so they don't feel that the reporting system is futile, and funneling more players into less lobbies. It is hard to make a private farming server if you have to compete with 63 other people trying to join in and play for real. So that basically goes back to him suggesting that sim lobbies should be 64 players, which I agree with. Farmers are going to farm, botters are going to bot, and hackers are going to hack. It is a fact of gaming, unavoidable at all levels. It can only be mitigated, never stopped. To mitigate it, they have to apply more effort than absolutely no effort at all. When you start dropping the hammer, the roaches will scatter. Go ahead, Gaijin. Let some dudes make a 64-person private farming botting lobby and no life his way into account for sale. Then delete all of them in mass. See if that guy does it again. Detecting something so obviously out of conjurance with honest gameplay on a scaled out large would be much simpler. Eventually, when you make it not worth it enough, they'll just play the damn game or they'll leave. So let me know what you think of all that in the comments below. I usually don't ask for likes on my videos ever, but if you could do me a huge favor and actually like this video, it would be amazing because it means the video is actually more likely to get pushed out to more people, which means more people can listen to this, which I think is very important. And who knows, it might even get Gaijin's attention. You never know. Like I said before, I'm going to put the link to the Reddit post in the description, so if you could also just go click that and upvote the comment, or just generally upvote the post, it would make it more likely to garner attention as well. That would be awesome. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.